All right, hello everyone. So we're going to go ahead and do a new project idea here. This one's going to be relatively easy as far as your time is concerned, but it's going to twist your brain just a little bit. So here's how it's going to go. I want you guys to think about working in reverse, okay? So normally whenever we have a pencil, right, we have a blank white sheet of paper and we're applying a darkened line to that drawing. And that's all good and fine, and sometimes depending on your pencil, you know, whatever grade it is here, you might be able to smudge it just a little bit. That's all good and fine. We're going to go ahead and try to do this in reverse. So what you're going to need is some kind of drawing material, preferably not a pencil. Instead, your drawing kit might have come with this stuff here. This is a Conte crayon. You might have some of this instead. This is Vine charcoal, but you want some kind of chalky material. You could do this with chalk pastels, but you couldn't really do it with oil pastels. And then you also are going to want a kneaded eraser right here. This is kneaded eraser. And then the only other thing you're going to want is some kind of towel or... yeah, I'm just going to use this Kleenex. That'll work just fine. Okay, so here's the deal. Think of simple forms, just like we've been doing along the way. I'm going to use Vine charcoal and Conte crayon here. So let's say, for example, that I'm working with just a sphere, something really basic. Well, you'll notice that the Conte crayon draws pretty nicely. It's kind of chalky. I can use the side of it if I want to, and I can blend it very, very easily. Okay. The Vine charcoal works exactly the same way. Again, Vine charcoal is going to be a lot smudgier. So if you kind of prefer that smudge kind of style, then by all means go for this. I'm going to use the side as well. And again, I'm just going to use my finger real quick, and you can see how quickly that smudges around. So what happens if we do this, but instead we coat our picture here? What if we coat our picture plane and give it some value to start with? That would allow us to add and subtract as well. So I'm going to take my Vine charcoal here. I can kind of just use the side and kind of just darken up my paper, give it some value. Right? I can take my fingers, or we'll just use a paper towel here, a little Kleenex, just to kind of smudge it all around. Right? If you don't want to use Vine charcoal, we can use Conte crayon to do the same effect. You can actually also take your Conte crayon and literally like grind it up. If you happen to have like a mortar and a pestle or something like that, you can get some pretty neat effects. So I'm just going to get a really smudgy thing going on. Now for this project, just grab some piece of still life, something very, very basic. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. I'm going to go ahead, I have a water glass right here. So it's basically just a cylinder. You can see it's well loved. That's just sitting right off the side of my camera. Now, what I can do is I can add more to get a darker value, right, like just so. If I don't like it, I can erase, in essence, with my towel, just by smudging that right back on again. Or I can really erase with my eraser and get some highlights, right? So we're going to use all three of these effects to our advantage. I'm going to hang out here on the Conte crayon area for a second. So my glass that I am drawing here, off on the side, I'll just kind of put it over here. The glass that I'm drawing here is kind of a cylindrical form, wider at the top, come on straight down, narrower at the bottom. This particular glass here actually has kind of a pinch on the sides, ever so slightly, just a little on the side there. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of geometrically draw that on of about where it should be, using my whole arm as I draw. Notice I'm not putting my wrist on that paper, okay? If you find that your lines are really short and kind of scratchy, pick your hand up. That's really going to help. So I'm just going to kind of crop that off a little bit. So there's kind of the squared off edge. There's going to be another one on this side. Not that I see it, but it is in fact there. Nice oval for the mouth of the glass. Of course, the water is going to go inside there. From where I'm sitting, I can't really see the water. So I'm going to draw what I know and what I see. From where I'm at, I don't know if you guys can tell, there's a lighter side on the right-hand side. So this is going to be lighter. And what we can do is add a little bit of darkness to the background. So I'm going to use the side of my Conte crayon and darken in the background. We really want to get away from outlines. And the way to get away from outlines is by just taking that outline and extending it into the background. Or, look at this side's going to be in shadow, extend that outline into the shadow of your object, right? Just like so. Okay, pretty neat, right? As the object gets more inside the glass there, it's going to get darker on the inside. So it's darker here, and it will get progressively lighter. Light is kind of hitting the edge right there. It's actually going to hit this edge the most. If our light's coming from this direction, it will hit this edge the most. So let's go ahead and pull some. I'm just going to grab this here. Just again, just a normal old Kleenex. Pull some of that off. Add a little bit more value to this side. Just like so. I can use my finger too. Kind of soften that up. One thing, it feels really intuitive. Try not to blow on it. I know that sounds silly because of course you want to. It's chalky and dusty and you want to blow it all over the place. A little blow, like so, is not going to be the end of the world. But the thing is, you don't want to breathe this in. So there's a tendency that we get close and we breathe in and then blow away. That breathe in is actually grabbing all this dust, and a lot of times this can actually be a carcinogen. So yeah, don't do that. Okay, so the glass is kind of coming into life real quick, right? Maybe there's like a cast shadow on it over here. And again, I'm just pushing pretty hard with my Conti crayon. I can be doing the same thing with my Vine charcoal. It works exactly the same. And you might have a Conti crayon that's black, or you might actually have one that's white. I'll show you what to do with that in a second. I'm just smudging with my fingers real quick, kind of softening that. Okay, I can use my eraser again here. I'm just gonna pull that off for like a little edge. Maybe if you don't like, see how it gets kind of gross right there? If you don't like that, just stretch it out and clean edge, just like so. I can knead it into a little rim. So I can get right on there, just like so. So your eraser can be really helpful to kind of give you that little extra lighter side. So now what's cool is we're really, with this toned canvas, we're really working with white, medium gray, and dark gray, or shadows, right? So we're kind of expanding our horizons a little bit as to what we have access to, right? The more values you have, the more realistic it can become. The more realistic it is, then obviously that's kind of our goal, representing the real world. Now right here, I really want to add a little glare of light right there, just kind of, that's how I see it. But you know, it's not working for me. So what I can do, if you happen to have like a white Conti crayon, something like this here, what's cool is you can actually draw with the color white. It doesn't go on super bright, it's not going to be like a Sharpie or anything, so it kind of picks that up a little bit. You can do this with a white colored pencil as well, it does the same thing. But again, just a little bit in there. Lightens it up, just like so. Maybe soften the top here a little bit, kind of nice soft gradient into that shadow on this side over here, and there we go. That's pretty much it. So we are working with a toned canvas, and we're adding darker and lighter on top of it. All you really need is a Conti crayon or Vine charcoal, works exactly the same way. Something to rub it out with here, or you can just use your fingers too, that's fine. And that's it. So no pencils this time, we're trying something totally different. I hope this works for you guys. Have a good time.